Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Mohamad Idzham Rohani, S54506. Today I want to present my final year project. My final year project title is The Challenge of Humanitarian Aid Logistics in Johor Bahru, and my supervisor is Sir Rizal bin Ismail. Okay, first is introduction. What is humanitarian aid logistics? Based on Farahani ETAL 2011, humanitarian logistics refer to the process of mobilizing people, resource, skill, and knowledge to assist victims of disaster. Logistics is at the heart of all mobilization activity in humanitarian process, serving as the link between catastrophe preparedness and response, procurement and distribution, and headquarters and the field. The problem statement is humanitarian aid logistics and NGOs needs to find information about the disaster in order to run smoothly. Not only NGO, this humanitarian involve all the agency in Johor Bahru. Okay, for my final year project, I have one research question, which is what is the factor of the challenge of humanitarian aid logistics in Johor Bahru? And my research objective is to find the factor of challenge of humanitarian aid logistics in Johor Bahru. For scope of study is the role of agency in humanitarian aid logistics and the challenge of humanitarian aid logistics. For literature review, I wrote based on my objective is to find the factor of the challenge of humanitarian aid logistics in Johor Bahru. For the first factor is resource management. Unpredictable quick onset emergency, which usually has little or no time in between, requires a rapid response in need of supplies based on ABD ETAL 2020. And second is road and accessibility. Based on Khalid and Mekik 2019, the failure to send donation is due to road network problem due to disaster and can be passed by lorries or boat only. Okay, next is the agency needs to inform the donor about the item needed or not. The aid channel sometimes does not meet the demand of disaster victim. For example, all the donor donate the same type of donation such as clothes to the disaster victim, and eventually all the clothes become garbage on the side of the road. And lastly is the use of internet is a necessity before and during emergency. According to Orange Business Service 2018, Facebook used social network data from disaster zone to supply aid organization with information about who, where, and what kind of assistance are required. And Facebook just began sharing the catastrophe map API with aid organization so that aid may be coordinated more efficiently. Okay, next is research method. For data collection, I use Google Form, email question, and WhatsApp all the questionnaire to all respondents. Sampling data, I use non-probability sampling and snowball. And for analysis, data analysis method, I use confirmatory factor analysis (CFA). Okay, next is result and discussion. Okay, first is data demographic of respondent. First is gender. The number of frequency for male is 190 and a percentage of 91.3%, and the number of frequency for female gender is 120 and a percentage of 38.7%. Total of the respondent for male and female is 310. Okay, next is age. The frequency for age 21 to 30 years old is 86 and a percentage of 27.7%. and the frequency for age 31 to 40 years old is 120 and a percentage of 38.7%. Next is the frequency for age 41 to 50 years old is 92 and a percentage 29.7%. And the lastly is the frequency for age more than 51 years old is 12 and a percentage of 3.9%. Okay, for the agency, the frequency of PDRM agency is 73 and a percentage of 23.5%. Second, the frequency for bomber and penyelamat agency is 82 and a percentage is 26.5%. Third, the frequency for ATM agency is 50 and a percentage of 16.1%. And the frequency for JPAM agency is 82 and a percentage of 26.5%. And the lastly is the frequency for NATMA agency is 23 and a percentage of 7.4%. Okay, for the how many time have you had experience in with flood disaster? Okay, first is the frequency for neighbor is 41 and percentage of 13.2%. Second is the frequency for less than 2 times is 109 and a percentage of 35.2%. Third is the frequency for 3 times is 80 and a percentage of 25.8%. Fourth is the frequency for 4 times is 56 and a percentage of 18.1%. And lastly is for more than 5 times is 24 and a percentage of 7.7%. Okay, this is my script plot for my research. You can see that. Okay, in this research, there are 40 factors were statistically significant and are considered to be critical. In order, these factors relate to management practice, education and training, material and resource, infrastructure, economy, disaster scene, assessment and workforce. First, management practice factor include make planning before undertaking humanitarian admission, organization held in orderly and systematic manner, controlling worker with other facilitate humanitarian admission, coordination between stakeholders affect humanitarian admission, response time when having an emergency case, communication between relief worker and victim, systematic and orderly record keeping, resource allocation from various agencies, and management leadership should be assertive in performing tasks. Okay, second, education and training factor is also important in this research. The factors are staff education about natural disaster, staff training on emergency case, skill on worker in handling emergency case, and knowledge of disaster operation. Okay, third, material and resource are considered to be third most important critical success factor in this research. These include the medical availability during disaster, availability of machine and equipment, importation of relief item at relief center, and availability of ambulance during disaster. Okay. Fourth, infrastructure factors such as the road network is impossible, availability of hospital and clinic, safe and damaged road infrastructure in disaster area, and inadequate transportation system. Okay. 5. Economic factors such as uncertain economic condition, high cost of distribution, cost of material and equipment, and increase in the price of goods. Okay, 6. Disaster scene factor such as disaster occurs in rural area, need to ride a special vehicle such as boat, disaster occurs in hilly area, and disconnected communication network in the disaster area. Okay, 7. Assessment factors such as lack of assessing the needs of the affected area, inadequate consideration of sanitary needs, especially for women, kids, and elders, lack of using local capacities in identifying the needs, and the lack of assessing the vulnerability and capacity of the affected area. Lastly, workforce factors such as lack of workforce, not enough time to distribute aid, mental workforce will be disrupted, mindset of field workers, and mindset of worker about belief system. Okay, in conclusion, humanitarian aid logistics as a complement to the current strategy of relief supply chain system has several advantages for humanitarian organization, including higher efficiency of procurement of relief supply, improved response time, and lower shipping costs, as indicated by the result of the proposed model. We show how the humanitarian system can be used to optimize the best investment in order to achieve the highest possible benefit in terms of humanitarian aid logistics. Okay, this is my research flow chart. Start with literature review, problem statement, research objective and question, questionnaire and data collection, data analysis and interpretation, and lastly is report. Okay, what you can see is this is my Gantt chart for my final year project, and this is my reference, some of my reference for my report about final year project. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.